Dada 5000, what's going on today, brother?
How's it going? How's it going? It's a blessing to be here.
Yeah, man. Tell us what's been going on with you lately.
Wow, just rocking and rolling. Full steam ahead, full speed ahead inside the right directions. Spearheading the bare knuckle movement. As we did inside of the yard. And just creating platforms for these athletes to showcase their skills and shine on.
So I think most people should know, but a lot of them don't. What is the big difference between bare knuckle and like regular MMA like you would see on UFC or Bellator?
Well, the difference between bare knuckle, regular MMA, and or boxing is those other two sports that you just mentioned, that was just referenced. They wear gloves. And we all know gloves are designed to protect my hands, not my opponent's face. So when you look at all of these movies, like Will Smith, who played inside the movie talking about, football helmets, concussions. When you talk about, blunt force trauma, the individuals like R.I.P. Muhammad Ali, who couldn't put a sentence together, Riddick Bowe, that's from taking continuous hits, to the head, not just over the course of a fight, over the course of fights in your career. That's a lot of damage, and our brains is inside of a sea of kinetic tissues and fluids, so it's unstable. You could turn your head real fast and get dizzy. You could spin around and get dizzy. Imagine getting punched repeatedly. So bare knuckle is less punches thrown, is less concussive, right? It's more superficial damage. You'll get cut, but you won't come out, like none of the individuals, that we've grown to know and love inside, boxing and in combat sports such as UFC. You have more, weaponry. In UFC, I could choke you, I could knee you, I could kick you, I could submit you, I could slam you, I can head kick you, I can elbow you, and boxing, so I would safely say that, boxing is more dangerous than MMA.
I've heard that.
MMA and boxing is more dangerous than bare knuckle.
So that I know this. Dan and lots of the guys have told me about it, but for somebody that might not be aware, why would you say that boxing is more dangerous than bare knuckle?
Because copy box punch stat numbers, right?
Yep.
You have more than 800 to 900 punches that could possibly be thrown over the course of a boxing match, right? And look at the preparation. They're wrapping your hands. We've been wrapped in the past. It's like they're giving you a mini cast over that hand, and they're putting that glove over it. So you're not feeling anything. Psychologically, I can take a towel like this and wrap it till it's like this and fold it over my hand and give me a sense of, like a sense of a superpower, if you will. That I can literally hit something because I just got that around my hand. Now, amp it up times 10, when you have real protection, right? Bare knuckle, boxing is a science. It's a sweet science. Bare knuckle is a gentleman's sport, right? You have to think, because you could throw an incorrect punch, your fight is over. You could break your hand, you could twick a hand, so you have to really be mindful of where you're hitting at, so that's a different level, of thought processing. You have a lot of boxers that have come over to bare knuckle, and it's not what they think, because they've been fighting all their lives with support. Now your wrist can flip backwards or forth. I've seen multiple guys break their wrists in bare knuckle fights.
So let's go back to the origins of Dada 5000, man. Tell us how you got into the combat sports.
Well, growing up inside West Perrine, and just seeing how you have individuals that you care about that are inside the community, right? And before I even go there, we're all bare knuckle fighters, right?
Oh, yeah.
Fought on the playground, at the school, a bus stop, whatever, you didn't have no preparation. You use these. This is the oldest form of hand-to-hand combat. You could take any of your world champions, right now, ball players, doctors, lawyers, track athletes, they're all bare knuckle fighters. They were all bare knuckle fighters before they got into their profession that's, paying the bills right now. But I grew up inside of a time that you had to fight, or you're gonna have a rough day at school, you know. And when you get home, if you got a beating in school, you're gonna get a beating when you get to the house for getting a beating in school. So that put us inside the mind frame at that point to protect yourselves, right? As we got older, a lot of individuals, you know, they had certain things and they lacked certain things. Most of the individuals, you know, they didn't have a high school diploma. They didn't have a skill. They didn't have a trade, you know. But what they did have was a criminal record, and they had 2 strikes against them. And I didn't want them to get the third, you know. Victims of circumstances, you know, environments, you know, bad decision-making skills. And a bad idea sounds like a good idea when a bad idea is the only idea, right? So
Yep.
I really understood my peers that were around me. And when Kimbo, who was also one of my peers growing up inside the same city, you know, once we actually, you know, got on the same wavelength, once I seen him, you know, take off with his bare knuckle, you know, it just put me inside of a light to say, hey, this is bigger than us. This is bigger than anything we can muster up. And I gave an opportunity. I created a place for these athletes to be able to come, showcase their skills on, and do what they do best. And that's fight, you know. But I would rather these guys fighting inside my backyard, right? Opposed to waiting in your backyard to tie you up and rob your house when you come home from a hard day's worth of work.
Tell us about the origins of the relationship with you and Kimbo and what was going on. I remember the first time I saw one of those fights on YouTube. It's like, this is amazing. And it just skyrocketed, man. But could you tell everybody kind of how all of that got started?
Of course, you know, with Kimbo Slice, he always was a big guy, big athlete, you know, went to Paul Meadow Senior High School. And I always told everybody, I was like, yo, he played linebacker in Paul Meadow High School, right? And even when he was 10, 12, 13 years old, he was bigger than most males inside the community, you know. And I was like, you know, talented athlete, didn't know how it was going to play out for him. You know, then Hurricane Andrew hit, you know, back in 1992, and that kind of sent everybody, you know what I'm saying, in their different directions. It just changed whatever trajectory we thought we was going to be on, you know, it just changed it. And we all, you know, reconnected, you know, later. And he was doing security work, bouncing, pretty much homeless in a sense, you know. And Michael Amber, you know, who was, I can't say he was a good friend of mine, but he was a good friend of Kimbo's because all of us went to Paul Meadow High School, right? And once he seen Kimbo, after all these years, you know, the conversations, what have you been doing? You know, this, that, or the third. And they caught up, right? And Kimbo started doing bodyguard work for him. Now, I came along, you know, now keep in mind, we all knew who each other was. But I came along, you know, later, and it was like, once Kimbo done that first fight, which for the fans, this was about respect. This was about respect. The backyard for him, you know, this was not planned. You know, he was bodyguarding, you know, for the porn industry, reality kings, you know. And for those out there, you may see a porn scene, right? But you have multiple guys inside the room. You just don't see them because the cameras is on the spaces that, you know, the scene's supposed to take place in. And they needed extra help one day. So, you know, they solicited the help of Derek. We call him Big D, right? And the MILF hunter, moms I like the F, right? The MILF was doing a scene, right? And Big D was just added security. The MILF, he ejaculated like that, right? So, you know, it's like, this is live. This is live streaming across the web. So the MILF got to get creative. People are paying good money for this. So Big D took off his clothes and jumped in the bed, fucked up everything, right? So at that, needless to say, people were pissed. They were pissed. So at the end of the day, when one of the guys was taking Big D home, Big D said, hey, so what about tomorrow? And the dude was like, yeah, about tomorrow. It ain't going to be no tomorrow for you, right? But Big D was a bully in the hood. You know, he's a big dude, you know, and a lot of people were scared of him. So Big D was like, What do you mean? He was like, man, listen, they don't want you back. Who don't want me back? Mike. Well, wait till I catch him. I'm going to beat him up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Now, keep in mind, Kimbo was homeless. Icy Mike turned his whole career around, right? He can't let nothing happen to him. So word got back that Big D is going to beat up, Icy Mike. So Kimbo was like, he ain't going to touch him. That's how that started, and it went back and forth, and they were supposed to do it. Kimbo had his kids one day, and Big D was like, yeah, I knew he was scared, this, that, and the third. And the dude who called Kimbo, he was like, hello, hello, hello. He hadn't already hung up. They were on their way coming down, and that's how that fight there took place. It was more or less about you disrespecting me. That's why it was personal, And again, that was because of the situation I just stated. So now they're sitting on this footage. This was at a time that bare knuckle fighting was ahead of its time, And once they put that out there and it caught wind and ran, it was like, yo, we need to do more of these. We need to do more of these. But they kept them in small contingencies, No one knew when they were going to go on. You just knew when it was released, And I told them, I'm like, hey, listen, you got something good here. Because I started rolling with him, when he was turning pro. I was like, look, so now that you're turning pro, let me keep the bare knuckle thing going. It's going to come a time that you're not going to be in a position to do this, but you'll always be embedded as a forefather for the culture. They didn't see it. They didn't see where I was going with it. They told me no, but they couldn't tell me why. I fought for those guys 3 times. I never seen none of my footage. How long do you think I can keep it up? During the buildup of the fight, they showed Ariel Helwani a clip of me taking a hit, right? But I said, yes, that's me. Now show the rest of it. You said I didn't fight for you guys. That's me. Show the rest of it. But he was the A side, so they didn't really want to hear nothing that I had going on. But just as much embedded in the fabric of the culture, because envision this like a relay race. You know what I'm saying? He ran first leg. Now I have it. The tradition of bare knuckle shall continue. Eventually, I got to pass it to somebody else and somebody else, So now it's like they told me, that I was making the biggest mistake of my life when I told them, hey, listen, the best part about a bad conversation is you don't have to have it twice. And that's when I parted ways. And they said I was crazy, I was nuts if I think that, this thing is going to blow up. Listen, I got nominated for 2 Emmys on daytime NBC. The president of NBC was in my backyard. This is major. ESPN E60, broke records worldwide, major. ESPN magazine, Movie Spectacular, sold more copies of that magazine that month than any other month that year. RollingStones.com, got a chance to work with Tiger Woods, Arnold Palmer, Lee Trevino, sold more video games, sold 1 million video games in 1 week. You know what I'm saying? You could go check that out. Tiger Woods, The Rumble, Maxim Magazine, Miami Time, Washington Post, Mike and Mike, you name it. Done all of that stuff out of the backyard. Netflix, Blockbuster. Shout out to Billy Corbin. We're about to drop, a revised Dogfight Round 1, with 40-something minutes of director's cut, never been seen before, and an all-new Round 2, So I asked any of those guys that are still around, do you still really think that I made, a bad mistake? The difference was this. We all played different roles inside of the backyard. I did fight in the backyard, but I utilized this to create doors and create opportunities for others. Now we have the largest, the biggest bare knuckle organization in the world in size of fighter roster, intellectual properties, content. We've done more shows than any bare knuckle organization, and we blanket, territories from London, from Dubai, all over the world. So if you have a BYB title, you're a legitimate champ. When you say you're the bare knuckle fighter, you're the bare knuckle champion, it doesn't matter where you are. If you fall in that ranking system, And that could be in London, that could be in Dubai, that could be anywhere. You know what I'm saying? We're going to make that fight happen. You know, we're going to make that fight happen.
Now tell us about this organization, BYB Extreme Fighting, and I know there was a merger not long ago. Could you tell us about what's going on with your organization?
Okay, well, BYB Extreme, and I tell everybody this, when it comes to bare knuckle at BYB Extreme, the world knows that we make the weekend. We're so unique. We're so unique in every aspect of the word. You know, I'm going to segue into your question. When you look at, you know, creativity, creative minds never take a day off, right? And when you look at the boxing ring, it's been done already, right? When you look at the octagon, it's been done already. You know, boxers and wrestlers have always fought inside the squared circle. MMA fighters always have fought inside the octagon. There's only two organizations on the face of this earth that own their own patent, and that's UFC and BYB. Again, you know, when you look at astrology, when you look at numerology, when you look at shapes, the triangle, you know what I'm saying, is so different. The triangle stands above all others. When you look at the pentagon, when you look at the octagon, the nanogon, the heptagon, all of those gons, right? When you look at the triangle, it's always been at the center of speculation, the center of controversy, the center of attention. You know, when you look at the Star of David, those are two upside down triangles meeting each other, right? When you look on the back of your money, on a dollar bill, you have a triangle, the Bermuda Triangle. In basketball, they run a triangle offense, you know, in a love quarrel. This person got caught up inside of a love triangle, right? When you look at, you know, the mighty trigon, it's the most dominant fighting form on the planet. We created that. It has a 98% KO/TKO finish rate. Even Triller tried to steal it when everybody was saying, oh man, this is crazy. Now these are the same ones that's cheering from the bleachers, saying you guys are amazing. So when you look at BYB Extreme, you know, we're so different. Two things I believe in. That's me and my abilities to succeed, and that mighty trigon that's in the room next door. You know, it's a one of one. So BYB Extreme is a unique organization. You know, we have, you know, reiterated how individuals look at extreme, you know what I'm saying, reality. You know, we revolutionized how people look at bare knuckle, you know, fighting. So what we did was, we are South Florida's oldest base bare knuckle promotion. And we have put together a group of superpowers around us with solid. So we acquired, you know, BKB over in London. That's London's oldest base bare knuckle promotion. So once we acquired them, you know, it just put us on the moon, you know, and we have been in a position to do more shows. You know, we do a show every month. We're in a different city or different state, sometimes twice a month. You know, shout out to, you know, my partner, you know what I'm saying, Mike Vasquez, you know, of BYB. You know, we brought on Greg, you know, and Greg Bloom is an awesome CEO, you know, Hall of Famer, you know, Mel Valenzuela, you know, matchmaker, you know, Claudia Trejos, you know, the first Hispanic, you know, mainstream, you know, commentator, you know, Mike Goldberg from the UFC, you know, Paulie Malignaggi, you know what I'm saying, two-time boxing world champion, Big Mo, you know, the next, you know, iconic, you know, ring announcer. You know, we just have a team that's second to none, you know, and our production is stellar, is on point, and now we're all over the world. So, you know, it's a long way from the backyard. And when I could sit back and just think about how far we've come and the impact that we've made, you know, I got to pinch myself from time to time, you know, because we're really trailblazing.
How long have you been doing this with that promotion, Dada?
Well, this year makes 10 years.
Oh, wow.
10 years. I started it in 2014. I was doing bare knuckle in the backyard for since 2007, you know, and we didn't leave no rock uncovered. You know, when you talk about bare knuckle, it's nobody on the planet Nobody. There's no bare knuckle. There's no promoter. You know, from UFC to boxing, nobody can fuck with me, and nobody can mess with BYB Extreme. When we talk about, you know, you guys may have, you know, a bigger library, but our journey is more inspirational. Our journey is more motivational. When you look at where we come from, it's documented. Half of these people, they just popped up. They have no backstory. UFC started out just like how we started out, with no gloves at all. You know what I'm saying? So it's amazing how individuals want to frown on, you know, the very same sport, you know what I'm saying, that's made a U-turn, that, you know what I'm saying, they can identify with more than anything else, you know? So when you talk about what we're doing and how we're going to impact and how we're going to change the game, how we're changing the landscape of, you know, combat sports, you know, it's already been done. It's playing out. You know, I can market and promote anything. I could sell water to a well. I could sell heat to a desert, you know, and anybody who knows me, they know that I'm not lying, you know. So what we're doing now, you know, I could do this, you know, with my eyes closed, you know, and BYB Extreme, you know, is the next phase of bare knuckle evolution all across the globe.
I want to talk to you a little bit more about your personal fighting career. You talked about the 3 fights that never got released earlier. Have they been released to this day?
No, because they will only benefit myself. They will never let those go. Never. You know, it showed just how dominant I was. We have the brown gates, and the dude slipped the punch, and this much of my hand went through that brown gate. I snapped a 2-inch placard, right? Listen, I'm not a boxer. I'm not, you know, a skilled, trained technician. You know, I rely on blunt force power and using this and having a strategy. You know, so I'm a brawler / slugger. And even though, you know, people could critique my style, you know what I'm saying, the finish rate was undeniable. I put a man down, you know, and this is what I do. So it's like, if they would release that footage, even if they release it now, it'll put me on a whole nother level. And the fighting thing, which I still am in a position to fight, but I'm also a promoter. I'm also, you know, I'm wearing so many hats with doing what we're doing here. I get a high off of giving other opportunities to other guys, you know?
And that.
That's something that, you know, I'm blessed to still be in a position, you know, to do. And I got one more in me, and it's coming soon. It's called One More Round. One More Round. And I'm planning on doing that roughly around the time that we release Dogfight, you know, to the world.
What's your favorite hat to wear out of all of them? Promoter, fighter? I'm just curious.
I would say marketing and promoting.
You like that?
Yeah, because, you know, when you look at the greats like Don King never stepped into the ring, and he's a legend. He's embedded in the culture of boxing. So they asked me, Dada, well, why would you want to fight? Why would that even cross your mind? You don't have to. You see what we're building. You see what we've done. You see what we're doing. I don't have to. But I will do it because it will put a period on the end, you know, of the sentence when I say, hey, listen, you know, I did it my way. I got one more round. And for the folks that have never been to the backyard, for the folks that have never experienced Kimbo Slice, for the folks that have never seen none of the icons, you know, that have, you know, shaped the course of bare knuckle in action live, I'm going to give them that. He's gone. I'm the last one left. I'm the closest thing to that, you know. So, I mean, it's almost like poetry, you know, in motion, you know, and it's gonna be something special.
Talking about Kimbo, man, probably your most infamous fight was the fight that you had at Bellator 149 with Kimbo. What led up to that fight, Dada?
It was inevitable. They couldn't avoid it, you know. Again, I got to that level which was extremely high, right? And I didn't have to do half the stuff that he done. I told him, RP to him, I told him, I'm like, bro, I'm gonna get to the same levels as you with less damage. with less miles on my body. Again, creative minds never take a day off. I'm a thinker, and I'm incredibly dangerous when I put my mind to something. So I went a separate route and still got there. So that should let everybody know who I am and what I'm capable of doing, you know? And Dogfight was all over the world on Netflix, you know, and I'm doing my thing. And I didn't have to step into the ring, you know what I'm saying, to be financially, you know, secure and to create opportunities for other individuals and find a niche to make money all across the spectrum. So when I got the call, and I knew it was going to come, I knew it was going to come. When he fought Ken Shamrock, I was sitting home and I was like, I'm next. I knew it. I was like, I'm next. You know, maybe a month later, you know, I get the text. Hey, you know, this is blah, 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 Mike, you know, want to talk to you about XYZ. And we put it together. You know, we put it together. You know, in this day and age, we see what's happening. When you look at a Jake Paul who relatively have no experience, but he's fighting a Mike Tyson, how the hell that's happening? You know, everything is a business.
Yep.
You know, it's sports and entertainment. Now it's entertainment first, sports second. If it's a good business idea, people are gonna roll with it. You know, I can present myself inside of a different format and get certain things around me and present it, and I could be fighting the heavyweight champion of the world 8 months from now. And I don't even have to have the experience. So
what do you think about Tyson going up against Paul?
If it's not rigged, Paul goes down. I mean, you got to look at it. Mike Tyson is older, but power is the last thing to leave.
And he's got it.
100%. And look, I think that the money is mind-blowing. Tyson will be 58 years old by the time this fight transpires in the next couple months. I don't see him making a $20 million payday doing anything else, right? And they upgraded it to a real fight. You know, Jake will go down in history one way or another. You know what I'm saying? If he beat Mike Tyson, you know, I'm pretty sure you're going to have 1,000 guys that's going to come after him, especially if he beat him bad and hurt him. You know, a lot of people feel like Mike shouldn't be in the ring. A lot of people feel, you know, the real winners are going to be the fans.
That's
that
right.
get to see that. You know, Mike knocked him out. You know, hopefully he could take that win and ride off into the sunset, you know, and not want to come back to do it again, you know, because at the end of the day, he's 58.
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. And those memories I have of Tyson as a kid, I mean, he was just invincible. He was
100%.
the man. So there, you know, knowledge, common sense would say, I don't want to see a 58-year-old guy get in that ring, but that 58-year-old guy is Mike Tyson. And if Mike Tyson says he needs to get in that ring and he thinks he's ready for it, who are we to say anything? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
I will
Again,
definitely tune
I
in.
like to knock Jake Paul out. You know,
I hope so.
we know that when we see Mike Tyson do the exhibition bout with Roy Jones, that was the first time the world has seen Jake Paul when he knocked out Nate Robinson, right? You've seen the fight, I'm sure. I seen the fight with Mike and Roy, right?
Yeah.
He carried Roy.
He did.
He carried Roy doing that fight. Mike had good cardio doing that fight and all. He carried him, and we seen it.
Yep.
He's not going to carry Jake Paul.
No.
Some people have emailed Mike and told Mike, do this for me in this hype train with this guy. And Mike has an obligation. Hopefully he stays true to it. Because if it goes any other way other than we expect, you know, and rumor mill, you know, comes out that Mike took a dive, that's a disgrace to boxing. He did boxing a great disservice. And a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, will be totally, you know what I'm saying, offended and upset. That's why I say that he's going to go out there and he's going to do what he's coming to do. And that's knock Jake Paul, beat him good.
Man, I want to go back to your fight with Kimbo. You know, it was promoted as this really bitter rivalry. Now, not to go too much behind the scenes, you got to have something to hype the fight. But was that really like a bitter rivalry, or just something that you two
No,
had respect for each
no,
other and wanted to happen?
that was 100% real.
It was
I was
real.
like, if we'd have bumped into each other on the streets, it would have went down. Like for real, it would have went down. You know, I went to a good friend of ours, Big Sean, who passed. Big Sean was a bodyguard, you know, for Kimbo as well. He was the big dude in the bare knuckle fights that Kimbo had, you know, the biggest guy back there. And Big Sean passed, and I went to the wake, right? And it could have went down right then and there, and it would have been bad, you know, because when I pulled up, you had Kimbo and about 10, 12 other guys in there, and I was walking right into a snowblower, because if I would have walked into that funeral home, it would have been very difficult, you know, for the people to not say that I came there and started problems. So it was real. I had all the intentions on hurting him. He had all the intentions on hurting me. And I just want to say to the fans, you know, when Dogfight Round 2 come out, you know, they're gonna see the real deal behind the scenes and all with what happened. It's no way I'm gonna come out, you know, on the biggest stage of my life and have the worst performance of my life. When preparation meets opportunity, you know, I prepared myself for an opportunity, you know, and, you know, it's just a wild business. And you got to have good people around you, you know, to make sure that you stay good. We hear the stories in boxing. So with these type of stories, you know, the movie Dogfight Round 2 is going to blow everybody's mind. It's going to show you what really goes on when the cameras go off, you know. And I can safely say, I came in there, Dada 5,000. Totally different when them cameras go off. You know what I'm saying? And for me, you know, I went through a lot, and I survived a lot, and I'm here now, and that story will be told. You know, yeah, I'm just going back in my mind, you know, right now, you know, but everything was real. Everything was real.
So let me ask you too. It was obvious, like there was some fatigue and stuff going on, and I read that you had a heart attack during that. Could you clear the air up on what actually went down?
100%. Um, I was compromised, man. And when I say compromised, you know, that's a whole nother, you know, avenue that we could talk for days on, you know. But when you look at, you know, the blood toxicology, when I went to the hospital, it all came out. Billy Corbin went back, you know, and interviewed all of the doctors that worked on me, you know, during that fight. Interviewed them all, got their stories into Dogfight Round 2. You know, I had 4 guys go to Vegas and put $6 million on me. Kimbo he was here the night of the weigh-in. You know what I'm saying? My stock was up. I was the favorite. Blowed everybody away. So now everybody is asking, like, what is going on? If Dada wins, I go broke. Somebody I know goes broke. So in the grand scheme of things, it's like, man, listen, man, you up inside the polls. But that just put me in an uncomfortable position, because now you got more guys gunning for you. This thing is big. And it goes deeper than anybody, you know what I'm saying, can imagine. That's why I say you got to have, you know, good people, you know what I'm saying, around you, you know, because your job is to train to fight. You know, that's what you need to focus on, you know. And yeah, I wasn't fatigued. I knew for a fact that in training, because we all knew that Kimbo, he had one or two good rounds in him, and then he gassed out.
Yes. Yeah.
That's because he had congested heart failure. He always had a bad heart.
Yeah.
They don't talk about that. But, you know what I'm saying, even in boxing, he could never go no more than 4 rounds. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I knew that my cardio was going to be better than his. I knew all I needed to do was just go in there, and I knew I have to take a punch. I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm going to be more aggressive. I'm going to weigh on him, and I'm going to knock him out. Here I am, I'm dying physically in that ring. And I'm standing in front of a known knockout artist. People said, oh, they had so many bets. Dada going to get knocked out in 30 seconds. Dada's going to do this. Dada. So the pressure is on him. It's not on me. It's on him. I went 3 rounds with a known knockout artist, and he couldn't knock me out. If what transpired hadn't transpired, I would have knocked him out no later than the second round. Second round, I linked on him. He fell on his hands and his knees, and I'm hitting him like this. I'm hitting him like this. You can go back and you can review the fight. The fight would have been over there. But, I was already, listen, I went into severe dehydration.
Yeah.
And, that put me in a position to the body starts shutting down in layers.
Not to interrupt you, Dada, but I mean, was you doing any weight cutting, or what led to
That's
that?
That's what they put out there. That's the narrative that they ran with it. But it was too much for me to defend. People are going to believe what they're going to want to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to leave that to that. And when Dogfight round 2, come out, I'll be vindicated. But for the weight cut, I did cut weight way before I even came to Texas. I was on weight 2 weeks before I got to Texas. I didn't just drop weight and no. I was on point 2 weeks. 17 days before the fight, I was already on weight. But they knew I was walking around at 300 pounds. But I just cut back on a lot of things. And I was really training. They say that I was out of shape, this, that, and third. When they watch the documentary, they're going to see just how hard I was training. Everything was documented. Everything was documented. Now, once they see it, no one is going to hit me up and be like, oh, wow, I didn't know that, blah, blah. Nah, they're just going to be quiet.
How do you feel about the whole concept of weight cutting anyway? From what I hear, it's like one of the most controversial things when it comes to bare knuckle and MMA.
Well, it's crazy that athletes have to put their bodies, through that, and once you get to a certain age, you can't make that weight no more.
Right.
You can't make it no more, and some folks, they want to stay in that division and they want to dominate. At what cost? You know what I'm saying? At what cost? I've seen guys, cut weight so much to the point that they had to get physically helped on the stand, on the scale, and then try to hydrate, you know what I'm saying, to bounce back. What are you doing to yourself? Some guys, they never really go overweight. So if they fight at 145, they walk around no heavier than 154, 153. But it's when these guys, they fight at one weight and then they let themselves go over 20, 30 pounds. And now you got 6 weeks, and you have to try to cut that back. So it is dangerous.
Let me ask you, so that was a heart attack that you had during that fight?
Yeah, I went down. Because again, my body started shutting down. I had a potassium spike, right? And again, that Dogfight documentary goes so deep into that, and it put my body into severe recovery mode. I went into dehydration, right? And when I went into dehydration, you know what I'm saying, when your body gets dehydrated, it starts to affect your kidneys, right? So when my kidneys started being affected, you know what I'm saying, I went into what they call rhabdomyolysis, right? So I went from here to here to here, working my way up to the point that the last muscle to be affected was the heart. I knew something was wrong with me in the second round. you know. But I knew that this dude is gonna have to knock me out, or I'm gonna die in this ring. I wasn't quitting. You don't quit nothing where I come from, you know. And he couldn't knock me out. And when you look at the last punch, it never connected. I went out. You know what I'm saying?
Did you have any lasting effects? And I'm just curious what the rehab was like after that. Like, how bad did that hurt you when you had that heart attack?
Well, you know, I was in shape. So I bounced back really quick.
Okay.
Really quick.
Good.
Like if no one knows that, you know what I'm saying? If they didn't see that, then you wouldn't believe it. Me talking to you. I'm 6'3". Right now, I bench over 500 pounds and I run a 4.740. I'm extremely athletic. I was that when I fought him. I had every component to win. Now, I wanted, and I had the willpower, even when I was in the hospital, you know what I'm saying, to will myself back into existence, you know. But the treatment was the treatment because my body shut down. So I was in the hospital for about a month. I was in Houston for about a month after that fight, you know. And when I got out, I came back to Miami. I went back into the hospital, you know, man, just to make sure you know everything is everything for about another 2 weeks, you know, and I've been good ever since.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just kind of scary knowing that Kimbo was having those heart problems and stuff too. You know, going into that. I don't. What year did Kimbo pass away?
2016,
20.
3 months after.
Yeah, yeah. That wasn't long after that, man. That's crazy.
Listen, I have no doubt in my mind. You know, it's a lot of stuff that was going on in my camp. There were certain things that did transpire. That's what led to my performance. People say, hey, that was the worst MMA fight on the planet. I'm not going to argue with that, right? But if you look back at any of my previous fights, I got busy. I knocked everybody out.
I don't know. Have you seen Dan Severn and Ken Shamrock the second time around?
Actually, I seen Dan and Shamrock during the weigh-in. They were about to go at it.
Okay.
They was about to go at it in Texas. You know
that second fight that I think that beats you in Kimbo for sure.
I
got to give Dan hell about that.
Yeah, you know, but here's the thing. Like, what people don't really get is like, they say, hey, that fight was the worst fight in history, but we've all seen Kimbo fight way better.
Yeah,
we've seen him knock people out. We've seen the backyard footage. You got to ask yourself which version of him showed up that night.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So people say, hey, that was the worst fight, but they always lean towards Dada. Oh, that was the worst fight. Hey, they act like I was in that motherfucker fighting myself. He was in there too.
You were an easy target because of the fame that Kimbo had got at that time, if you ask me.
Yeah. He couldn't do no wrong. He couldn't do no wrong. You know? So it did. I mean, you know, I wasn't in there by myself, you know, and it seemed like when people talk about, you know, the Kimbo fight with Dada, everything goes towards Dada. The guy with the least with the least experience, with the least skill set, with the least everything, he was supposed to get in there and just wipe me out.
Well, and so, like, not to bring up negativity, but like, it is what it is. It was said that, you know, afterwards Kimbo tested for Deca, nandrolone, and testosterone as well. So you had somebody in there with, you know, that had taken PEDs going against you as well. I mean, how did you ever find out about that, and how did that make you feel?
Yes, and they and the fight league turned the other eye, and they still booked him. You know what I'm saying?
Because it was Kimbo.
Fight in London. You know what I'm saying? James the Colossal Thompson. You know what I'm saying? Again, that just let them know we didn't give a fuck about Dada. You know what I'm saying? So even if the commission suspends him here, you know what I'm saying, for 3 months, we could take him to London and still get around that suspension. You see what I'm saying? But here's the thing, though. He's been taking steroids. A lot of guys take steroids, you know, and he needed that.
I see that. I'm on TRT myself, so I'm not throwing. I'm not throwing any, thing like that. I mean, I know the health consequences that I was having from having low testosterone and knowing that Kimbo had those heart problems. Sound like he probably did need it.
Yeah, and it's like when you look at the level of steroids that he was on. I've been in the backyard long enough, right? Long enough to know I've seen a lot of people come back there because it's unsanctioned. I know what roid rage is. When he was standing up in the press conference, he was like, "Dada, I bet my nuts bigger than yours." That was roid rage. Yo,
you don't think he really thought that?
Yes, Listen, thank you, man. Yes. He when he said that, he was on that was roid rage then, right? And if I would have said, "You test this guy," and I was this close. If you test this guy right now, it ain't gonna be no fight Friday. Test him now. That's roid rage all day. It wouldn't have been no fight. And I knew it was roid rage, but I still felt like I was gonna beat him anyway.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just so sad. I mean, what was it like when you heard about the news of Kimbo passing away?
I was driving, and somebody called me and told me. And at the end of the day, as much bad blood as we had, if I would have still been standing, win, lose, or draw, if I would have been able to stand, I would have extended my hand to him at the end of that fight. You know what I'm saying? Now, regardless if he would have shook my hand or whatever, embraced me, that's something different. But I would have extended, my hand. It hurted because I wouldn't have wanted that on him or nobody, and to hear that, he had a heart attack. See, what people didn't understand is this, he wasn't supposed to fight me, let alone Ken Shamrock. It got that bad, So you have doctors that saying, "Hey, listen, he's not clear," but somehow he got clear, and they said he was at the home and he had a massive heart attack. He was supposed to get a pacemaker, but he pushed it off. So it was a great loss to combat sports. He was definitely pioneered a movement. And yeah. I mean, a lot of people, miss him and miss his presence. When I heard the news first.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was definitely a pioneer what the two of you started. And I remember when it came around, those videos were amazing. Never saw anything like it. And to see it go from YouTube to UFC and Bellator, I mean, you guys definitely started, something that will always be remembered. It had a huge impact. And that's what you're still doing with this BYB. How often are you doing these fights with BYB? And if anybody wanted to tune in to see these, where would they go to?
They could go to BN Sports Network. They could go to Fuse, like we're streaming on multiple networks, and we're worldwide, with it. And we're doing shows every month, sometimes twice a month. From city to city, state, out of the country, overseas. This upcoming month, we're going to be in Jacksonville. June, we're going to be we just left Denver, Colorado this month. The 10th, we was out there, sold that place out. The fight fans, they could go to BYB Extreme. We have it available on the YouTube channel, now. Next month, we're going to be in Jacksonville, right? That's in June. July, we're going to be in New Orleans, August, we're going to be in Miami. So every month we're in a different city, different states. Then we're gonna head out. We got Hawaii on the radar. We have London on the radar. So we're rocking and rolling, man. We're consistent.
And you've talked about it several times. So I got to ask. I'm curious. I want to see it. When is that Dogfight 2 coming out?
That's looking to be out in the next couple months. We'll say roughly around summer. It's looking really good for that.
Awesome, man. if anybody wanted to reach out to you, throw out your socials and your links, man.
Okay, they can follow me. Well, it's not even follow. I'm inviting everybody to come along on a journey, you know, and they could be a part of that journey at the real Dada 5000 on Instagram, DeFear Harris on Facebook, the real Dada 5000 on Twitter and TikTok. Also follow BYB Extreme on all social media platforms, you know, Instagram, TikTok, you know, and Facebook. And subscribe. Subscribe to BYB Extreme YouTube channel, you know, to get brought up to date. And subscribe to the Real Dada 5000 YouTube channel. I'm going to be releasing never been seen before backyard bare knuckle footage of the days of old, you know, so they can follow the journey from then up until now, you know, and it's awesome. You know, inspiration and motivation, you know what I'm saying, lies within the journey.
Man, I'm looking forward to what the future is coming up for you. It's an exciting time to be a fan of combat sports. There's so much that's going on, and I'm glad to see the contribution that you're making. And just want to say I appreciated you being on here very much today, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you again soon.
Hey, thank you guys for having me, and to all your fight fans that's out there, you know what I'm saying? Thank you guys for constantly tuning in, you know, and when this video, you know what I'm saying, comes across your desk, like, comment, share, and subscribe.
That's right, man. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.